Hello, I'm Richard. This is over and over and over again. This is the live fan cam reaction show following the game that's just finished at the Emirates. Arsenal won, Fulham won. Be interesting to see what everybody's thoughts are on that 98 minutes of football. Hello, I'm Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. It did finish just a few minutes ago, actually, at the Emirates. Arsenal won, Fulham won. A very controversial match, shall we say? Lots of talk about, actually, which is quite good for a show like this, I guess. We have got quite a few people joining us, as you saw in the intro there. And just the other side of this, we'll have our first guest with us. And joining me first this afternoon, it's Gary from WTT. How are you doing, Gary, today? You okay?
I'm doing good. I don't know why I'm smiling.
I don't know why you're smiling. It's funny, isn't it? Because in many games, a last gasp equaliser would be really celebrated. And maybe if people have been in the stadium, maybe it would have been different. But that felt like. Actually, that last goal for me felt a complete waste of time. I don't know what you felt. Yes, it stopped Fulham winning that away at Arsenal for the first time. But what did you make of the performance overall?
I think like usual, Arteta surprises us, right? With the lineup choices, the squad that he chooses to go with. Once again, of course, we can't keep our back line as close to what we've seen in the past. So that there's lots of big switches there. So now you're concerned about how the defense is going to play. El Nene, Ceballos in the middle. So now you've kind of depleted basically two lines of your team, because that two needs a lot of help, right? Either behind them or ahead of them, and the people ahead of them have to be perfect, or else it's going to be a concern. So that right there, I mean, I think there was, if I counted, I think 5 out of the 7 players that played behind that 3 all changed. And that's, to me, sometimes the middle is our weakest point. So with any changes in the middle, we're taking a step back a little bit there. Holding and Gabriel, I don't think we're a little concerned about that. But Xhaka out on left back, I guess my thought is he would play just because we want to keep him in form for the Everton game. And then Bellerin on the right made no sense to me, because I felt like he's our third right back at this point,
and he might well be leaving by the look of it as well. So.
And he's on his way out. So then, what's the point of playing him, giving him the captain? I mean, why does Lacazette lose the captain's ban? What has he not done in the last number of games where he all of a sudden he loses the captain's ban? Usually, when Lacazette or Aubameyang or Xhaka aren't playing, then it goes to Bellerin, I think, at least in the order of preference to me.
I think officially Bellerin's the vice captain, isn't he?
Oh, he is. Okay.
When Aubameyang doesn't play, if he plays, he's captain. But I think Lacazette's third in line, isn't he? So Lacazette gets it if Bellerin and Aubameyang aren't playing. I mean, it seems to be passed around from pillar to post at the moment, the armband. And I think we all know that where obviously the actual captain of the club shouldn't really be the captain anyway. I think we all know that, and and obviously now we've got Bellerin who's captain, who's obviously about to leave, or it certainly seems that way. So there's a few strange sort of decisions going behind it all as well. But I mean, I guess with the players that's available, that's fit, and bearing in mind the Europa League now, the semi-final, I wasn't that surprised about the changes to the lineup. I think players had to be rested. Maybe one or two more could have been rested. Obviously, as we've seen with Lacazette getting an injury, his hamstring, maybe he should have been rested. But I guess, it's I suppose it's difficult for Arteta, isn't it? Because he can't change 11 players, because if we did lose the game, he's going to get massively criticised. So he has to try to keep the team as strong as he can, but also rotating. I mean, I think 5 changes is about standard, isn't it, for most games?
I think, yeah, but I mean, I think he's punished, not really punished, but he's weakened the team in certain spots that, as far as I was concerned, were one of the reasons why we struggled today. I mean, outside of the video machine, right? That little thing they call the dreaded 3-letter word that starts with V. Outside of that, I think that put a little bit of pressure on us. I mean, you look at the bench as well, right? No Balogun all of a sudden. Why is he not on the bench?
Yeah, strange again, yeah.
Martinelli, the last thing he wants to do is put him up top. So why don't you have Balogun on there? Nketiah, okay. But he didn't even play. He didn't play in the last game. How all of a sudden is he ready to play this one? I mean, if I'm following with this whole form thing, shouldn't Balogun still be on the bench?
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I was baffled by that. I mean, obviously, as it turned out, Nketiah came on and got the goal. But you know, I suppose it worked out in that way, and Arteta will say it was justified. But yeah, I mean, I was shocked that Balogun wasn't on the bench, at least when he was on the bench the other night, came on and got a few minutes, and then today he's left out the squad completely. So there are a few baffling decisions. I mean, I suppose you did mention VAR, and I guess we can't not talk about VAR because it seems to dominate this game. All the key decisions, all the key moments in the game were dominated by VAR, wasn't it? I mean, what did you make of our goal that got disallowed just for?
Well, it's funny you say that, because just a second ago on the stream here, Scott Park is in the tunnel screaming at the referees for a VAR decision that did not go his way. Imagine that in this game, the VAR decision didn't go his way. The one of 3.
Yeah,
the one that didn't go his way, he's upset about. So, you know, whatever. I mean, we got punished for it. I mean, one of them was clear. The other one, I'm not too sure about that one. The penalty itself. I mean, come on.
That was the worst.
I mean, he doesn't. I mean, I can understand if he touched him at least, but he didn't even touch him.
No, I mean. That was what was the worst of all the decisions that were given by VAR. Actually, I mean, it's supposed to be for clear and obvious errors by the referee. The referee gave that, and then when you look at a VAR, you've got to overrule it because he didn't touch him, and he clearly put his foot onto Gabriel and fell over. It's unbelievable that was given on VAR, but you know, it just seems to be. I thought the offside goal for Saka was from it was Tobias, wasn't it, who scored the goal. That was very, very marginal, wasn't it? I mean, you could say he was, but he was moving away from the goal. So how's he gaining an advantage? He's not going towards the goal. He was moving away from the goal, wasn't he? He was trying to get himself back on side. So
that one was a little strange because they went to the toes, it looked like.
Yeah.
And they didn't go to the closest part of the leg to the goal, which they did use that.
Yeah, exactly.
With the knee on Gabriel.
It was Smith Rowe's heel and it was the defender's toe. And it's like, well, if his heel, he's going the other way. He's going away from the goal. It's just, the whole thing's bizarre. VAR is just, to me, watching that game today, the biggest thing that came across to me was, this isn't the sport that I used to love. It's not. It's a completely different game. Yeah, no fans in the stadium doesn't help the atmosphere. And all this VAR nonsense. And to be honest with you, I didn't care the result of that game at the end. The last sort of 20 minutes of that game, I didn't really care anymore. I'd lost interest in the game. I'd lost interest in it all. And that's a direct result of VAR and I think no fans. And I do believe that if there's fans in the stadiums, VAR don't get away with this rubbish that they're doing. They do not get away with that because fans in the stadium won't accept that. They're not going to accept an offside that you've got to draw these lines. It's millimeters offside. There was always a thing, wasn't there? The advantage goes to the attacking team. Where's that gone? Because it never does anymore.
Well, you keep forgetting there's that caveat in the bottom little asterisk with red shirt, London.
Do
the opposite. I mean, that's what it seems. I mean, as we're sitting on the watch along, and Melvyn asked the question: when's the last time you've seen one of the opponent's goals go to VAR and it gets disallowed? When's the last time you've seen it happen in an Arsenal match?
I honestly can't remember, actually, because I suppose
it doesn't happen.
On the ones that go against us, I guess we do.
No, but I mean, when's the last time a goal's been disallowed by our opponent?
Yeah, no, I can't actually remember. Actually,
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I guess we want to put. I guess I would like to talk about the game. So, but it's either you got the video, you got the
No, I
lineups,
mean,
and you have the game itself. Even though the game, I guess, is not even really the highlight of what's
no,
going on, like you said, because the game was. I personally think the way that the naming, not the naming, the mentality that Arteta had his team set up to play wasn't to go out there and get a win.
no.
I don't think
Well,
that they felt that they were going to win this game because there was too many times I saw Martinelli just come down, just blast down, and then all of a sudden just decide to pull up. Like, what are you doing? Just keep going. Put your head down.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
beat. You can beat anybody on the field when you got a head of, you've got a head of full steam there. Just go attack them. Put the pressure on them. Don't set it. Don't pull it back and let them get into defensive structure, because once that happens, then you've got like 8 people behind the ball. I mean, I think we kind of played it a little bit timid there, and I think maybe he got into his head, because you've seen him go down many times and just attack and put the shot on goal, right, and be off by a little bit. Maybe that's playing on his mind, but I just want to keep seeing that, because that's what when we have that opportunity in this type of game, we have to ram it down their throat, because they are not gonna break. They don't want to. They can't give up a goal. They know they can't.
No. So I mean, I don't know whether that may be slightly to do with the fact, obviously Martinelli's not played, has he? He's not been picked very often. As Arteta told him, he's got to adjust the way he plays to get picked in the team. So maybe that's on his mind as well. He's trying to maybe do more of a job for the team rather than playing his natural game. Like I think several players have maybe suffered a little bit under Arteta, because he's so strict and rigid, isn't he, in what he wants players to do? And maybe that's affecting Martinelli's the way he plays the game. Maybe, I don't know if that's a factor, because it seems to have affected a few players, I think, especially in the forward areas.
Well, that structure. Sorry there, but that whole mentality where I feel like they just pull the ball back. That's the reason why Cedric pulls the ball back, and we see what happens at the end of the Slavia Prague game. Right, the defense is giving you the whole everything in front of you, but for some reason you just pull it back. And now you put your own team at under pressure, and we saw it today. I think there's there's something to stick in my mind. El Neni has the ball in the middle of the pitch, is going up. He's got the defender on his shoulder. Nope, I'm just gonna pull it back. Why? Yeah. Why? Yeah. We need our midfielders to attack the middle of the field and put some pressure on them.
Yeah, and this has been an ongoing issue, hasn't it, for quite a long time, and unfortunately it's one of the reasons why we're in the position that we're in the Premier League, isn't it? Because we're not taking those risks. I mean, I was just going to briefly touch on our home form, actually, because that's the 8th Premier League game, which is half of the 16 that we haven't scored in. Half of our home games we haven't scored in this season in the Premier League. And we haven't actually won in our last 4 games at the Emirates either now. We've only scored 1 goal in those 4 games. It's a worry, isn't it? I mean, I know that there's no fans in, and that's had an effect, but why do you think we've struggled so badly at home this season? Especially, I mean, look at some of our home defeats. We've had Burnley won there, they never won. I mean, Fulham were seconds away from winning for the first ever time. Wolves have won for the first time in years away at Arsenal, Leicester as well. And I don't know, there seems to be big problems when we play at home, and maybe that's partly what you said about the negative tactics. Maybe away from home that works well, because you can draw the other team on a little bit, whereas when the away team are quite happy to sit back, as most of them are, we play sideways and backwards, and they're comfortable all day, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah, and like you said, why are we doing this at home? I don't understand. And why are you doing this on the basically after the previous 2 games, right? We're trying to build on what we've done in the previous games, and we're not doing that. We're kind of like you said, we took 2 steps forwards, now we took 1 back, and now we're going to play an Everton team who we're going to want to be on. We're going to be in form for, but Xhaka might be a little iffy, Lacazette might be a little iffy. What do you do there? I mean, I would have liked to have had Balogun be on the bench, because he should have come in. Now, what happens when if Lacazette's out and Aubameyang is still not? Even if Aubameyang is healthy, I don't see how he plays on Friday anyways. How is he going to get? Is he going to get it back into form enough to be able to beat an Everton?
Probably not, but I mean, if Lacazette's injured, which he looks like he will be if it's his hamstring, he's not going to probably play Friday. So, Aubameyang, if he's able to play, I'm guessing he will play, just because of the lack of alternatives. Really, the injuries that we've got. Maybe. I mean, I don't think he's maybe should play. I agree, but what other alternatives have we got if Lacazette isn't fit? Would we start Nketiah from the start against Everton? I'm not sure if he's. I know he did play well against them last season, didn't he? When he scored, and he did score today when he come on. But I'm not sure if he's going to give us more as a centre forward than Aubameyang would, even if Aubameyang's only 90% fit. But we've had a few comments actually. We'll just quickly run through them. Rob there says he's got that tracky top. It's nice, mate. Yeah, I do like it. It's pretty cool. Shane as well says a team as inconsistent as manager. Ceballos and El Neni not good enough for Fulham. They slow the game down too much. Yeah, can't wait for the season to finish. Well, yeah, apart from the Europa League, obviously, I can't wait for the Premier League to finish, definitely. Gunnar Steelman there says VAR is here to stay. It just needs to be adjusted. Saka should have cut his toe. What wasn't it? Smith Rowe that was offside. I can't remember.
No, it was Saka that came back to get the ball, and then he curled the ball around for the cross, I believe.
That's right, yeah. And the dark side there, thanks for tuning in. He says team selection was a joke yet again, starting El Neni and Ceballos. Yeah, it's never worked, but in any other game, there was no reason to suspect it was going to work today. They are too slow when played together, not supplying the faster forward players anywhere near faster. But exactly, yeah, we know that's the case. Dark side again, glad our youngsters pushed until the final minute and got the goal in nick of time to avoid a defeat. Yeah, at least, exactly. That's the only real positive that I can take from it, that we did keep going. And at least we showed a bit of fight at the end of the game, which we haven't done enough this season at home. And we managed to force the equaliser. And Dark side again says we need a few players to come back that can play 2 or 3 games a week and not need to be rested or pick up an injury every other week. Yeah, I mean, that is an issue that we've got. We don't have a game now, do we, till Friday, and then we've got another almost a week off until the semi-final. So we've got plenty of time now to rest and recover, haven't we? So let's hope that we can make the most of that and get players fit again. And
well, I mean, and the players that, the 2 to 3 games a week, the players that need to be able to play right now, we need to be able to have at least some backup for them, right? Because today we found out that we didn't really find out. We realized that our 2 right backs are Chambers and Cedric. That hopefully has been confirmed today. We realize we only have one Partey. If he can't play, then just assume we're going to struggle in the midfield. Right.
It's actually, I mean, one thing that maybe struck me from Fulham today, I thought Anguissa in midfield would actually be quite a good player for us. He offers something that not necessarily a starter every week, but he could certainly be a backup for Partey, and he could come in and do a job in midfield, maybe something adds a bit different physicality and forward drive that we don't have currently. We certainly didn't have today. And he's another option as well. I know Basuma has been mentioned. I think Anguissa is a good player, actually, could do a job for us in our squad next season, but we'll see what happens with that. Just before you finish, Gary, it would be your man of the match. Another difficult one to call.
Yeah, just one thing before I get a man of the match. In this game, I would have liked to have seen Emile Smith-Rowe come back and take and replace El Neni, because I felt like that worked for us. Like, they were coming back anyways. Both him and Lacazette were coming back anyways, working extra hard. Imagine he gets a hamstring. Maybe if Emile Smith-Rowe's back there, he won't have to work as hard. So man of the match, wow. Man of the match, wow.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, okay, so Saka would be a definitely candidate today. I always like when Ryan's back there. He doesn't have much to do today, which is good.
He kind of set up the goal as well, didn't he? Or he had a hand in it anyway, didn't he?
Yeah. So, I mean, he is an Energizer bunny for me, vocal, and he shows it. So I got Saka. Man, Pepe. If he could have put his head on the ball, that would have been nice. But I guess I'm gonna go with it's either Saka or Emile Smith-Rowe for me a little bit. I feel like Saka definitely put a lot of pressure on them. Martinelli definitely could be in that. Would get an honorable mention there. I mean, if like you said, if he's in form, they would be in trouble. So once he gets into it, I think I'm going to go with Saka. Even though I as a whole, the team, like the previous game, all 11 looked good.
Yeah.
Right. I can't say a negative thing about anybody, even if they had some bad, bad performance, bad plays or anything like that. This one, it's hard to find play. And I think it's because when we go to our bench, we basically deplete the entire team. So we struggle, right? And that's what happened today. So like all 11 looked really bad, but in general, it's a couple of plays here and there that kind of bring down the ship, the weakest link kind of thing. And then put a little pressure on us. But I'm going to go with Saka. I probably have to look at this game again just to look at to get a good feel for who should have taken it. But I'm going to go with Saka because he's always good there.
Yeah. I think he did sort of stand out as well, didn't he? He was running at them quite a lot, causing them a lot of problems, as you said. So yeah, he was probably as good as anyone in what was overall a pretty average performance again. Just before you go, guys, just give your channel a plug, DWTT. What sort of stuff you got?
Yeah, so DWTT in YouTube, Don't Waste the Tweets, and Twitter. Type in DWTT Arsenal. I should pop up first. I'll have my 5 out hopefully in 24 hours, and we'll talk about the game. I'll try to find. I picked 5 players coming in: El Neni, Ceballos, Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Martinelli. Just because I felt like that's where I was hoping to see a lot of the play come from. I was scared for Bellerin. I didn't want to really talk about him, and he definitely made his presence today, right? So, but I was looking forward to seeing. I was hoping to get something more out of the midfield, but it was challenging for us to do that, I think, in general. So that's what you should see come up. Like I said, in about hopefully 24 hours.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Look out for that, and it's and say make sure you subscribe to DWTT as well. Well, thanks for coming on again, Gary. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone in the chats. Thank you, Richard.
I know it's early. I know it's early in the day for you, so enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.
We'll try and enjoy the rest of our evening here.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Very much. Thanks again, Gary. Speak to you soon, mate. Take it easy.
Okay. You too. All right.
See you later. Bye.
See you.
And that was Gary from DWTT. And next up and on the firing line, it's Melvyn, of course, a regular. Melvyn, what did you enjoy that game as much as I did?
It's a shame it was only 97 minutes, really, isn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
We showed, or the manager, in my opinion, showed Fulham no respect at all. He just threw people in. I don't think he seemed to give it much thought. Just changed things round. He had Bellerin next to holding again, which never seems to end very well. It's just, oh my God, it was just one thing after another. And if you notice today, though we're playing at home, and it was something to do with our home form, Richard, how many back passes we're doing again?
Yeah.
We didn't do that the other night. I don't remember one or two. Every second, every couple of seconds, we're getting the ball, putting it back. First thing, putting it back. And that's the easiest. Well, you don't need a defender against that, do you? Really? No reason at all.
No, I mean, it was only really in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so that we started to show a bit more urgency and getting the ball forward. And it obviously did finally pay off in the end with the goal. But, I mean, obviously, VAR, I sort of mentioned with Gary there, VAR was perhaps the biggest star of the show in a way, because it basically sort of made the game what it was, because it would have been a lot more duller and less to talk about without it, wouldn't it? I mean, what did you make of all those decisions that most of them seem to go against us, actually, for a change?
Yeah, just for a change. The one that was their penalty.
Yeah.
When I saw it again, I thought, oh, it's no problem. The back of my mind, I thought, no, VAR is going to play on this. There's a chance that will be given, even though looking at it, never looked like the guy dived. I thought it was Kane diving for a second. It looked so good that dive. I thought it was like, yeah, that's Kane. What's he doing playing again? I thought he played for Spurs. And yet I thought when you do a dive like that, you shouldn't get the penalty. You should not get it. I'm sorry.
No.
It's like when you players, when they get tackled and they roll, they can't be injured. Because if you get badly hurt, the last thing you want to do is roll. Anyway, the referee's been conned. Not a grey matter up there. Doesn't understand the game. VAR, whoever they're looking at it, wants to defend the referee. So they're not going to overturn it. So what is the point? Absolutely, what is the point of going to VAR? There's very few that they overturn their referee, unless someone takes out a gun and shoots a player, they might give a penalty that wasn't given. It's ridiculous. You can't have the same people. It's incestuous. You can't have the same people all making the decision. You've got to have someone outside the little circle, all their little mates, making, defending them.
Yeah.
They've got to be someone completely another body, if you like.
Yeah.
Another body that they don't know who the people are. They don't. Oh, let's go for. Now it's the nice weather. We can go. So let's go for a pint. I saved you there, didn't I? It wasn't a penalty, but come on. You feel that. It's exactly my thinking. It can't. Why would that be given? Who in their right mind would give that as a penalty when you've got a second chance to look at it?
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? And VAR that's what VAR was meant for, wasn't it? That was the whole point of bringing it in, was so that when the referee maybe made the wrong call, because when you're looking at something in real time, sometimes you can make a mistake. Of course you can, because the game's played so fast, and that's what VAR is for. The VAR looks at that and says, well, okay, sorry, there's no contact. Just play on, or whatever you'd give a goal to Arsenal, whatever it was, and that's the right thing, and that's what VAR is supposed to be for. But when VAR is used like this and they come up with the wrong decision, having seen 25 replays of it, it's like, what's the point of having it? There's absolutely no. You might as well just let the referee the game, and if he's got it wrong, he's got it wrong, and we accept that the referee got it wrong. But when you've got that and you see that in a replay, it's like, how possibly can he give that as a penalty? How is it possible?
I don't know. And also the goal that got disallowed with us. I'm looking across and thinking, is it offside? Where's that? And also, you don't know. And I said this on the watch along, and I've said it before. You don't know when that ball was kicked.
No, well, it was flicked on, actually, wasn't it? It was flicked on by Lacazette. So that's the point when he's either offside or onside.
You don't see both together.
No.
So you don't know when it was kicked. They can make up their own rules and put their line in when they want. I know. Listen, let's put it this way. Both things went against us. I thought unjustly. Take that out of the equation. We were poor. It just shows you that when we've got 3 or 4 passengers on the pitch, we ain't going to play very well. And they dragged the other players down. I thought Martinelli had a poor game. He wasn't taking the back on one-on-ones. That's something we normally throw at Pepe. Wasn't taken on the game. And the amount of times he checked when he shouldn't have done, just gone for it. I don't know whether that's in his mindset today. I thought Smith Rowe was making mistakes that he normally doesn't make. I thought Saka was okay, but nothing near his level. Again, he was making poor decisions. Lacazette again was playing deep because he wasn't getting the ball. And I said before the game, where are our forwards going to get the ball when you've got Ceballos and you've got El Neni in midfield? That's called Ray Wilkins. The crab, because he used to pass sideways. I don't know what we call them, because they pass sideways and backwards. I mean, but Paul Wilkins could play football as well. He was a terrific player, God rest his soul. But we can't have 2 midfielders doing the same job of not crossing the halfway line and not passing the ball forward. We cannot have it. And he made a few. And normally, and then he's not very productive, but he doesn't make many mistakes. I thought he made a few a day. I thought he actually gave the ball away, did some ridiculous passes where you think, who's that to then? And that speed, who is going to get at the end of that? What were you looking at? Anyway. So listen, I thought the team who was picked was poor. I thought the players that played, a lot of them were below par, and some of them were playing to their normal level, which isn't good enough. And Bellerin, you could defend him by saying, well, he hasn't played for a few weeks. But some of his decisions as well, you're thinking, oh my God. And again, he was one of the worst culprits for giving it back all the time. When we're 1-0 down, don't you realise we've got to score a goal? Giving it back, take a chance, whack it up, give a through ball, try something going forward. All right, if it goes to someone else, nothing lost. But that's in their mindset. It's the default decision to give it back and see how we go. And it's so, you're sitting there and you're thinking, I want this game to be over, whatever the score is.
That's exactly what I felt. Yeah, I wasn't particularly, for me, a draw in games made no difference to a loss. Really, ultimately, it's not. We needed to win, and that was it. We either win or it doesn't matter. Anything else doesn't matter. And that goal at the end was almost pointless. All it's done is it stopped Fulham breaking the record of having never won away at Arsenal. That's what it's done. It hasn't done anything else, and it may have nailed the final thing in their relegation coffin, I think, because that 3 points for them would have been massively important, wouldn't it, to maybe keep them up. They still would have had a lot of work to do, but it would have given them a chance. Whereas now I think, that goal has maybe kept Newcastle up and kept Brighton up. I think that's all that goal's worth for me. It wasn't worth anything. I didn't even celebrate it. I was thinking, what a pointless waste of time.
I was relieved. I was just relieved.
I wasn't even really relieved.
Because of the record.
Yeah, maybe the record, and obviously we haven't. We'd lost already 6 at home in the league, and 7 we'd have lost, haven't we, in the league already?
Yeah, 7.
That would have been another defeat.
I'll tell you why I was happy we scored. Obviously, being an Arsenal supporter, but what I was happy, it was like justice. So I didn't thought they deserved to beat us.
No, it was
so they didn't deserve that penalty. So that's why I was happy and relieved, Richard. Not because look at us, we've done well.
No, that's it. No, exactly.
You think about it, Richard. First game of the season, we played this mob. Tore a strip out of them, right? And if you're going to tell me 3, 4, 5 months later we're going to play at home and a last-minute goal we're going to celebrate to get a draw, you'd take me off somewhere, wouldn't you? And that's how much we've declined from where we thought we were going to be and how Fulham have come up.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham have got a lot of new players since the start of the season, I suppose, on loan and stuff like that. But even so, no, I agree. They're third from bottom in the Premier League. And, we shouldn't be celebrating a 96-minute equaliser at home to a team like that. We should be comfortable. And, I agree. It would have been wrong for that penalty to have won them the game because it wasn't a penalty and it shouldn't have stood. But, in the overall scheme of things, I mean, that game for me was just, 98 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. And or actually, I missed the first 5 minutes because I didn't get back from work till just after it started. But the rest of it is time I'm never going to get back. And I've lost a lot of love for football actually. And the VAR nonsense today is kind of just putting a final nail in a coffin for me. It's not the same sport, is it? What we grew up with.
It's not. I put out there ages ago. When a goal's scored now, I wait to get a confirmation email before I celebrate. Because
even that last minute goal, they wanted to disallow that, didn't they? They wanted to find a way to disallow it, and you couldn't find one. So we'll have to give it.
yeah. Sorry, we've run out of excuses.
Yeah, we can't find a reason.
Football, if going back to the old days, and I hear what you say about if supporters were with VAR, but in the old days when you had to queue up for a ticket, right? There wasn't so many season tickets about. How many people would go to football? I think a lot less now. I wouldn't be bothered if I have to queue up for an hour or two.
Yeah, I agree.
And think, well, I may not get in anyway. Do I really want to see this game? And it might, VAR's going to destroy the football that I'm watching because even if we score, I can never celebrate until until half time. Do I actually want to be in a game like that, or do I want my emotions to be free and enjoy it and take the highs and the lows with it, which you can't do anymore?
But that's
I think they're lucky that the people don't have to queue up. And no seat. And listen, people will go because they've got season tickets. They go, well, I paid for my season ticket. I might as well show up. I can't afford to throw away 60, 70, 80, 90 quid. Why should I do that? But to make the effort to say, right, I'm going to go on by train or whatever, go to the ground and have to queue up, may not get in. And then thinking that, oh, you know what? Do I actually want to see this game? I think people are dodgy it. I think they would dodge it. And they're lucky football. There's so many season ticket holders, especially at Arsenal. Because without the season tickets at Arsenal, we would struggle, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there with emotion, actually, because for me, that's what football is. It's the whole emotion. It's an emotional experience going to football. It always was, and that's been stripped to the game. It's been stripped out of it now, and there's no emotion left in it. And yes, not having any fans in the ground has made a difference. And maybe when fans are back, some of that emotion will return. But while the game's played in the way it is, with the way that VAR's doing it, they're stripping a lot of that away, and it's ruining it, completely ruining it, and it is taking away the enjoyment for me, definitely 100%. And today, that was what I felt more so in the second half. I was watching that game thinking, why am I even watching this? I'm not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it at all. I'd rather be doing something else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's how not just this game. There's been a lot of games this season, not just Arsenal games either, just games in general, football in general. I'm losing interest in watching it.
You are losing interest, and same here. But you know what? I was on the watch along with Ryan, like I normally am, and if I wasn't on the watch along with him, I would have fancied doing something else. Honestly, I could have said, you know what? I'll leave it on record. I'll do something else, and I might flick through, see the last 40 minutes flicking through, because you see when people say, well, if you watch a game recorded, you haven't got the emotion there because it's already happened. But at the same time, there's no emotion when you watch it live.
No, there isn't. No, exactly. No, that's the point for me. It has kind of definitely ruined the game. Steve in the chat there, thanks for watching. Steve, he says 18 shots on 1 goal, very lucky in the end. Yeah, I mean, we were, but we weren't, I guess, because they shouldn't have had the penalty, should they? But he said, go Gunners anyway. Yeah, exactly. And Gary's just popped in the chat to say Arsenal women won 10-0 today. That was in the FA Cup, wasn't it, against Gillingham? No real surprise. Obviously, Arsenal women are a level above Gillingham. So, but well done to the Arsenal women, of course. We do love the Arsenal women on this channel. And Gary says hello to everyone in the chat room. Yeah, indeed. Hello to everyone and everyone watching as well. Just before you go to Melvyn, who'd be your man in the match today? Again, a difficult one to select, really, because no one stood out above everybody else, really, did they? It was quite a poor performance.
All I can think is, though he wasn't up to his normal standard, none of them were really. I suppose Saka, because at least he was trying a few things. And he did some really good things. Again, he made mistakes, but at least he was trying stuff. And he did a lot of the stuff come off. And I thought it was very unlucky with that shot he took right by the top right-hand corner. That would have been a screamer, wouldn't it, had it gone in?
Been, yeah.
But I thought, if anyone, I can't think of anybody else, to be honest with you. No, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, he did seem to pose the biggest threat, didn't he, for us going forward? And like you said, that would have been a great goal, wouldn't it, if that had gone in the top corner? Goal of the month, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, he was a bit unlucky there. No, I agree. Probably Saka was probably the best of what was a fairly average bunch, really. But anyway, something we're used to now, or we should be used to. Just as we think we've turned a corner with a couple of good wins, we end up doing that again. And that summed up the season. It sums up the last 18 months for me. And it's what, I know a lot of people say, the other night when we played really well, and everyone's going, oh, where's all the Arteta outs now and stuff like that. And it's not really a case of that, is it? Under Lampard, Chelsea had some good performances, but overall they were inconsistent. And that's why they made the change and got a proper manager in who's taken them to the Champions League semi-final and the FA Cup final. We've stuck with our inexperienced manager, and the inconsistent performances, unfortunately, will continue. And yeah, we're capable of doing what we did the other night, and I'm sure we'll do it again before the end of the season on more than one occasion. But ultimately, it's going to be thrown in the mix, performances like this. And unfortunately, that's happening too often, isn't it? And there's only one reason for that, and we know what the reason is. But I suppose while we're still in Europe, I'm not going to go too much into that because it's where we need to be, and we still might win it, let's be honest. Despite today, quite often I remember when we reached a Europa League final a couple of years ago, we had a few poor, disappointing performances in the league. When we reached a semi-final the year before, we had a few disappointing performances in the league running up to it because your mind's maybe on that, you make changes to the team. So maybe we can understand it a little bit today, but it's not just today, is it? It's an accumulation of many, many performances like this that don't have that excuse.
Where we are consistently inconsistent.
Yeah. At least we know where we are, I suppose.
At least we got a bit of a style to us. We know we are. You're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we know what to expect.
Never mind.
We move on to. We've got a week off now till Friday anyway, so we'll see what Friday brings us against Everton. But no doubt that'll be a tough game. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, Mel. It's always a pleasure, as always. Just where can people find you if they want to find you? I'm sure they do.
Hopefully on this channel on normally Friday nights when we got a weekend game. That's quite a good show, isn't it? Also on Mr. Ryan Arsenal, and also on from Dale Square to Where. But thanks again. Always good to come on and try and keep smiling.
Well, we'll try and keep smiling. Now, I think we'll have to do the Everton show maybe Thursday this week because obviously
that'd be an idea.
So we'll sort it out. But I'll definitely do one this week. I just wasn't feeling it to do the Fulham one. I just couldn't really get into it this week. I had so much to do and I never got around to it. But we'll definitely do one for Everton. So probably Thursday. Lovely. I'm sure I can get some Everton fans on. The guys that came on last time.
They were good. They were good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right. Have a good one.
And you, mate. Thanks for coming on again. Cheers. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
So that was Melvyn there, of course, as usual. Good to have Melvyn on. And now we've got Joel outside as well in the sunshine, which is nice. Nice of you to join us and bring the sunshine with you, Joel. Are you right?
It's the only way, mate, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, well, we need some sunshine in our lives at the moment, don't we, after suffering that couple of hours of pain, really, it was. I mean, what did you make of the game?
Well, kind of said it all, really, didn't it? I think we were lucky to get a draw. Don't get me wrong, things did go against us. Some of the VAR's kind of here and there, but you can't rely on VAR. You've got to put games to bed. I know I was just listening to what you were saying with Melvyn and DWTT wrote in the chat that the Arsenal ladies won 10-0 and it was against Gillingham, who they should have beaten. Well, we should have beaten these. So
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
it's one of those games, isn't it, where you kind of think, well, yeah, we should have put it to bed in the first half. We looked like we wanted it from the off, and then we just seemed to go into the usual autopilot, playing like we were winning, and we weren't. So that's the problem, really. But yeah, we didn't seem to really turn up, and that's the sad thing, isn't it? You know, that's a game that would have put us in a good stead, chasing the European places. And you almost think, well, do you want to be in Europe next season? Do we need a season out to kind of rejig and do what we need to do? Because, you know, other teams that are out of Europe seem to have more success in the league the year they're out of it. So,
yeah, no, possibly. I mean, my only concern with that is the financial aspects. Yeah, exactly. And I think that financially, especially over the last year or so, you know, the club have lost a lot of money. Not just our club, lots of clubs have, all clubs have. So I think it's really important that we are in Europe next season, really, on that basis. And I agree. Every time in the last few weeks, we've had an opportunity to close the gap on the teams above us, really make a statement and say, we can do this, we can get into Europe via the league. We suffer a poor performance and a poor result. We've done it so many times recently. You know, everyone keeps talking about, oh, well, if we win, we can close the gap on Tottenham to 2 points or 1 point. Or
well, we've done it for years, Rich, we've done it for years, mate. You know, it's always that sort of, you know, the other team will slip and it will be like, oh, come on, Arsenal, it's your perfect chance, and it will be a draw or a loss, and you just think, well, that mentality's diminished over the last sort of 10 years. You know, we can't do the sort of sucker punch when we need to. And it's just been difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, I was just sort of saying to Melvyn there, actually, this performance on its own, when you look at the context of the Europa League, we just got through to the semi-final, we've got that in a week or so's time, and you can understand that maybe our focus is elsewhere, and you can maybe excuse a performance like this then, but it's not just then that we've done it, it's been regularly throughout the season, and that's the problem for me. It's not just a one-off that you can maybe think, okay, because of Europe, because we was doing this before Europe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think the issue is we always put all our eggs in one basket, don't we? And we've been down this road several times, and that never works. It never works. You can't rest on one thing. You know, we were lucky last season, and you know, we just it's going to be a tough ask, isn't it? It's going to be a tough ask to win the Europa. We've got a tough game next against someone that knows us very well. So yeah, we'll just see how it plays out, but we've got to sort the game out. You know, as you say, we've got a tough game next week. But then knowing Arsenal, we'll probably go and win that, and then go and struggle against, you know, the minnows in other games. So
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because it seems to be maybe, I don't know, a lack of motivation maybe in some of these games. Maybe whether that comes from the manager, maybe it comes from the players thinking, oh, you know, these are a weaker team, we should beat them, and then we go and perform like that. You know, you've got to earn the right to win any game, whoever you're playing. Yeah. You know, and like you mentioned about the Arsenal women, exactly that. You know, they could have easily gone out there and won 1 or 2-0 and thought job done, but they've gone out and won 10-0 because that's a professional job, isn't it, against a team you should be beating. I'm not saying we should beat Fulham.
Don't take your foot off the accelerator.
Exactly.
You know,
you keep going.
Like the other night. The other night we could have had loads of goals the other night, and I would have thought, go out there and send the message, you know. And coming into this game, it was almost like, we'll take the foot off the accelerator a bit, we'll do some changes. The players are a bit tired, but if you're coming out of that game, the buzz you get coming out of winning a game like that, I'd want to play. I'd be desperate to play, because you want to keep that momentum, you know. Laka was trying. He looked tired, but he was trying, you know, and it just didn't work for us today. That's all we can say, really. And I suppose the man of the match for me would be Eddie, because he got the goal. But that's it. But he showed more in the time that he came on than some of the players for the whole game, and that says it for the game, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, he got the goal obviously at the end. I know he couldn't really miss it, but he had to be there. He made the right run and got himself in the right position, which he tends to do, doesn't he, Eddie? He's got that knack, hasn't he, of getting himself in those positions. I mean, obviously, as we mentioned to the other guys as well, all the VAR stuff that was going on. What did you make of their penalty? That was ridiculous, wasn't it?
I think it's very difficult after what, you know, was turned down for us, which was minute, wasn't it? And then for that to happen at that end, I thought theirs was just as offside without the penalty decision, as much as
it was
ours
very
was.
similar.
So
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's just a nightmare, isn't it? There's no way other to describe it. You know, it's almost like we kind of pick and choose what ones we want to give. You know, it's in the hat job, isn't it?
When it seems to be, there doesn't seem to be any kind of logic behind any of it. And you know, I know we've come off on the wrong side of a couple today, and I guess it's not the first time. But I just think from a football point of view, and you know, not just from Arsenal, I just think watching football in general, you see these things going on week after week after week, and it's killing the sport for me. It's just killing the enjoyment, and it's taking, as I said to Melvyn, I think it's taking away all the emotion out of football. Because it's all too mechanical now, isn't it? You can't celebrate a goal, you can't react to things as they happen because you don't know if it's going to actually
wait a couple of minutes. And,
it's just football's always. I don't care, and I've decided now. Maybe in the past, you know, we used to complain about referees, but I don't care if a referee gets something wrong. If it doesn't take away the emotion of the game, just let him get it wrong. And then the next one, he might get right for you, or he might get wrong that goes your way. But let the referee do it. We've got to. I've reached that point now when, as far as I'm concerned, VAR has not benefited the game at all in any way whatsoever. It's not benefited.
The thing is, Rich, though, it's being used wrong. This is the issue.
Right, yeah.
It's been brought in, and yet they don't know how to use it. Bring it in behind the scenes, train the officials up on it, and then go from there. It was just kind of put into, you know, the European competitions, the women's game, and then it was almost like, let's go with it, let's roll it out, and it had so many teething problems. We thought we were kind of getting somewhere, and then bang, it's gone again. So
I agree. I agree. Maybe it is the way it's used as well, but I'm just not liking it at all, and I think it's ruining the game. And I'll be quite happy if they just went back to the old system. Not that they're ever going to, probably, but it's not working for me. It's not working. It's not having the desired effect on the game that we wanted it to have. And I would rather just accept referees' mistakes.
There's too many eyes on it, and you know, it's like saying there's what do they say? There's too many captains going on rather than workmen. There's too many bosses, and it's kind of like, well, that just seems how it is, doesn't it? Now there's too many people that have a decision to make, and no one actually wants to make it.
No, exactly, and then they're getting them wrong.
The game, mate.
Yeah, it has ruined the game, and it's just ridiculous now. So Ender's in the chat. How you doing, Ender? I know he's a big regular on your channel, isn't he, Joel? Ender says that we were masters of our own misfortune. PGMOL had an agenda against VAR and we're determined to make it fail. Possibly that could well be the reason. We've mentioned that before. And he says too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. Yeah, that's exactly what Joel was trying to get at.
That's why I have him by my side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he knows exactly what you mean, which is good. But we all know what you meant anyway. But yeah, that's exactly the situation. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I guess we're just going to have to either part with it or maybe go along to Joel's channel and watch boxing instead. So that might be a better option actually. After,
to be honest, it sounds a good shout to me.
Yeah, no, I would say so as well. You know, so just give your channel a plug actually, Joel, because you're doing some great stuff over there. Actually, it's brilliant.
Yeah, well, we've got JG's Fight Talk on YouTube, obviously under the same name on Twitter. Just, you know, all for boxing, interviews, live watch-alongs. We're going to start review shows. We just got our quick predict show as well, and just some great stuff going on. We've got a big one landing this coming week. So really looking forward to that interview, and tune in and subscribe and wait for the content. So thanks, Rich, for having me on.
No, it's always a pleasure. And I say maybe boxing might be the way to go because they haven't got VAR or anything like that have they yet, so that'd be good. So
maybe they should revert to the old hockey tactics and just have a punch up if they don't agree on it.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea actually. That might well be
maybe that's why we have got Xhaka and all those guys ready because they know the change is coming.
And Gary there's giving you a big up to your channel as well. He says JG's Fights, check it out on YouTube. Good job, Joe. Exactly that. It's a great channel, actually. I'm not a big, massive boxing fan, I'll be honest, but I like watching your shows because they're really good, and it's given me more of an interest maybe than I had before, and that's kind of what it's about, isn't it? Opening up new doors. And at the moment, with the way football's going, I'll maybe need another sport to really get into. So that
come on, mate.
That might be the way forward. That might be the way forward, actually, if things carry on like this. But Ender says there, actually, there's where's it gone? Ender's little comment he just made. There it is. He said plenty of dodgy decisions in boxing too. Yeah, I know. I'm sure
we won't go into that. Nick.
Sure
we're trying to get people on board.
And he says, get Kolasinac back. Yeah, if you want to fight, definitely get Kolasinac back.
Oh, blimey, yeah. He'll take on Gunman and all sorts.
Yeah, he can definitely have a fight. There's no doubt about that. And maybe not so good at football, but anyway, that's another story. Well, thanks for coming on, Joe. It's what I say, always a pleasure. So make sure you check out Joe's channel as well, JG's Fight Talk, for all your boxing news and watch-alongs and everything else, which is good stuff. So excellent. Well, thanks for coming on, Joel, and take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday in the sunshine while it lasts.
Yeah, and you take care, mate. Love to the family.
Yeah, and you, mate. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
So that was Joel from JG's Fight Talk. I say check him out on YouTube. And now we've got Ryan from the Mr. Arsenal podcast. How are you doing, Ryan? Are you all right?
Can I have the hour and a half back, please?
Yeah, exactly. It was painful. Let's put it that way. Very painful.
I'd rather literally just put a paint on the wall and watch it dry. That was how bad it was.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said to the others, it was like in contrast to Thursday. We weren't up for it. We just going for the emotions, really.
Yeah.
Martinelli again. He gets a start. He thought this was a good opportunity for him. The first few minutes, it looked like he was going to take it, and then suddenly,
in
one moment, he was running forward. And he took the handbrakes on. I'm going to cut back. No, I'm going to run forward now. I'm going to run, but it was too late by then because the defenders, if it's back in place, and then after that, he just got worse progressively throughout the match. And again, I mean, don't get me started on VAR. I mean, we get a goal taken off for offside for a player that's facing away from goal. By the way, he wasn't even facing towards goal. He faces away. The ball goes backwards before the ball goes forwards again, and then obviously the ball ended up in there. And then penalty is not a penalty. It's no way a penalty.
No,
I don't care what anyone says. He literally goes. You could see in the slow mo. Initially, he was going to go for the ball. He doesn't. But even when he pulls his foot back and plants it still, because he wasn't that much of a difference between where he's about to go and he plants his foot still. It still hits off him, so he still technically won the ball. The attacker has literally jumped in the air over his leg, over thin air, and got the pen. And then you think with the system of VAR, and I think this is the thing. It's not the tech that's the problem. It's the people implementing it. And just because you were talking to Joel before there, it's we've got to remember that initially they put the season before they brought it in, they put it to a vote to Premier League. Do they want VAR in or not? And because there were teething problems at the time, the Premier League went no, but the club went no, not this season. Did it? And then halfway through that season, because the referees are getting sorted left, right, and centre, they basically took it off their own accord and basically went no. I know you voted against it, but you know what? Tough. We're going for it now, and now we're seeing. It's like I think it was Ender and a few others are saying in the chat. It was like they wanted to fail. They put it in purposely to show actually it's not that great after all. It's like, well, it would be good, the system itself, if you, as Joel, train the people up. You train the people before you implement the system. Once everyone's up to scratch, and stop changing the rules every season as well. Let's have a standard set of rules. Handball's handball. If it hits the hand, like anything like this, or it's an unnatural position, this, that, and the other, it's handball. Clear and simple. Offside, if it's clear daylight, like Arsene Wenger said recently, if it's clear daylight, that's offside. If it's like we talked today with I think it's Saka's boot that he just to be offside, but he's facing away from goal, that's not offside. That's not offside. If he's facing towards goal, then that you can't. Okay, fair enough, because he's using it to go forward.
Yeah, it's an advantage, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's just pure common sense at the end of the day, and it is like it's because the Premier League are going by their own rules as well. They're not going by the UEFA rules. Like, they're not bending the knee to UEFA and going by the UEFA's rules. It is like they are deliberately setting it up to be a failure, and if it to go back to the way it was, and then in the hope that if it goes back to the way it was without the VAR, that they'll get less ag from the media, from the fans, from the clubs, etc. But it won't. It'll just make it 10 times worse.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, I actually would prefer to go back to the system where the referees made the mistakes or not made the mistakes, and we just accepted it. You know, you got them for, you got them against it, but at least you could understand. I mean, when the penalty was given today, as an example, you could sort of understand why the referee gave it at the time when you look at it in real time. But then when you see that replay, which is what VAR is there for, how can you possibly give that as a penalty?
Yeah.
You just can't, because he never touched him, did he? The guy put onto Gabriel and threw himself on the floor. And surely, if anything, he should have been booked for diving, not given a penalty, because that's now been rewarded. That behaviour has now been rewarded. And when another player dives in the future and everyone's up in arms about, oh, he's diving. Well, the reason why they're diving is because, like today, they get given penalties.
Yeah. And even though we've got an equaliser at the end, they're still gained an advantage. They're still gained a point out of it. The game time cat, like, oh, it's died, I've got a goal, but at the end we've come along and won the game. So there's no real effect. It still had an effect in the end because I've got a point out of it.
But I mean, it has an effect anyway, doesn't it? Things like that have an effect in a game, regardless. Because if that game,
no, but what I'm saying is, as in, they don't gain anything from it. If we go on to win that, obviously, there's nothing they gain, because even though they've cheated and it's this, that, and the other, if we come back and this, that, you could go, okay, but the fact that they've still gained something from it in the sense of a point in the situation they're in, they're still it's not only they gain an advantage in that moment, they gain something out of the situation anyway as a whole in the end at the full time. But, I mean, Matty Ryan again showed me today. I mean, go back to the actual game itself. But he is, for me, levels above Leno.
He's a good goalkeeper.
He's a good goalkeeper. He can't. I mean, throughout the whole game, crosses are coming in. He's coming out, commanding the box. He's catching the ball. He's not afraid to come out and catch the ball, be it a cross, open play, corner, set piece, whatever. And in the last 5-10 minutes, he's in the centre circle. He's come out to the centre circle to get involved and try and push the ball up and help us get that goal. Yeah, and obviously he comes in for that corner. We get where we get that equaliser. He's a big part of that, because it's him got the head to it that cushioned it to Ceballos.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
these are things that Leno hasn't done.
Have you noticed? There's been a lot of home games this season where we've been losing by 1 goal, in fact, away from home as well, in the last minute, and we've had a corner. Leno has never gone up for any of them. And suddenly today, Matt Ryan plays in goal. Matt Ryan is allowed to go up for a corner and actually creates a goal.
He uses his own initiative and goes, I'm going forward. I want to help this team. I want to help my teammates get something out of this. No matter what the situation was, obviously conceding a goal, he still wants to get. And Leno's never done. I can't remember the last time actually a goalkeeper at Arsenal has done that and gone up for a corner and done that sort of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't. No. But
his overall gameplay today was fantastic. And I think the thing is, the annoying thing is, come Friday, I know Leno's going to start, because obviously the Thursday in mind. But at the two at the moment, performance-wise, I'd rather have Matty Ryan in goal. The guy's played 2 games, and we've only Bellingham was playing even. They had the armband on it for Bitshow on social media that he's at confirmed last night at the season. So why the hell is he then starting?
Season really, and today was just a few more. But for me, it's not the reason for it. We came out at 16 in the Premier League at home. We've not scored a goal.
In the end, by the skin of a teeth.
Really, really poor record, isn't it? We've lost 7 games. That's not great, is it? And
this season, they were 8th in December. Really? I mean, the fans will make a bit of move.
Yeah, they do.
Half near the time, but apart from that, it's not going to have any more of an impact. Apart from letting our distaste of the situation that we're in.
Exactly. I think that there'll be a lot of. You can imagine it today, on top of some of the other home games as well. When that penalty went in, there would have been a lot of unrest in the crowd anyway, wouldn't there? And that's not exactly going to help the team to drive on and get the equaliser. I mean, we may well have got the equaliser anyway, but maybe it's not necessarily such a disadvantage as it's made out to be, because having fans in the ground when you're losing at home is not always a good place to be, is it? Especially at the Emirates, when it can be quite toxic anyway, and we have lost a lot of home games. So I don't know. I don't want to blame it on that alone.
It's like you said. It sums up our season. We're consistent. ironically consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, well, we are, and there's no explanation to it because yes, I know there's players in the team, and Thursday night was we were brilliant, and we've been brilliant in other games, and also today we were really poor, and we've been really poor in a lot of games as well, and it's like it sometimes doesn't matter which players are playing, because even when we've got virtually the same team that maybe played Thursday have still played poorly in other games. And the team that played today has played well in certain games as well. So it's not really necessarily to do with the individual player playing or not. It makes a little bit of a difference. El Neni and Ceballos don't work in midfield. I think we know that. Holding and Gabriel are never the greatest two as a partnership at the back, although we wasn't really put under any sort of pressure today by Fulham. They don't score goals, do they? They wouldn't have scored a goal if it wasn't for that ridiculous penalty. But I don't know. Those little things make a difference. But for me, we had Smith Rowe playing, we had Saka playing, we had Martinelli playing in the attacking area of the pitch. Lacazette, who's on fire at the moment with goals, and we couldn't score against Fulham, who are third from bottom, until the 90th minute.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even Pepe. I mean, he had his. Aside from the goal, Pepe had that chance as well to sort of score, but he sort of goes to head it, he rolls off his chest. That sort of summed up our game today.
It did.
But I just can't wait for the season to end in that sense. But also, I am hoping, I don't know if you've heard anything about Lacazette. I'm hoping it's not a long-term thing, because that could hinder us next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on if he's actually pulled it, or if he just felt it go a little bit and he stopped, and maybe it's not done too much damage. I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, if he's out now for the rest of the season, which if it's a hamstring, would he play again this season? I don't know if he would, because there's not much time left, is there, to recover from that? So I'm not sure. And if that's the case, then that's a big problem, because he's been good this season, and he's been important as well, and he's scored some big goals in recent games as well. And I think in the Europa League, he'd be massive in that semi-final. Yeah, he's the only centre forward we've got, isn't he? Because in Ketia, he's not. He doesn't do the same work. Aubameyang, when he plays through the middle, can't do that job. And I mean, that's a massive loss if he's not fit. Definitely.
I mean, with Eddie as well, it's fantastic he got the goal today in the end, but it took him 5 or 6 chances to get that, eventually take that chance to get that goal before you out on that.
Yeah, no, it does.
It provides a massive headache for Mikel Arteta. Does he give Balogun a chance? Does he put Martinelli down the middle instead and put Pepe and Saka either side of him and do an interchange thing throughout the whole match? If that worst case scenario happens, otherwise, I don't worry. Yeah, it's worrying. I mean, especially we've got, as you said, Villarreal around the corner now. They're literally the first leg away. Is it away as well? The first leg.
First leg's away, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a massive, and we need to get their away goal. We need to get at least one away goal, if not 2, to give us some sort of advantage for the second leg. Because Villarreal, because the second leg's at our place, they've got an extra half hour to gain an advantage. Worst case scenario for them. So we need to use these 90 minutes next week to get at least 2 away goals. And without Lacazette, I don't know if I can see that happening.
And our home form's terrible as well, so we need a good result away from home, don't we, to give us any chance? I think. It did seem today with the starting 11 he went for that he sort of, because now in the semi-final, it's a bit reminiscent of when we got to the semi-final under Unai Emery. He sort of started making them changes in the league and saw weaker second string players that hadn't been played all season, like on any of that season, and suddenly he was starting and playing this, that, and the other. You could tell he was putting everything in Europa League basket. I mean, this time you have to, because we're in the position we're in. But it's very reminiscent. And look what happened last time. Got to the final, went full strength, and then second half we fell apart. No, exactly. And I mean, when you look at this Arsenal team as well, even if we do get to the final and we play well in the semi-final, then there's no guarantee that we won't fall apart in the final, because we've done it on so many occasions anyway. Especially if we play Man United. I know we've got a good record against Man United recently, but it is a worry. And unfortunately, now we're in a situation where we've got a lot of injuries. We've got a massive game coming up. Well, 2 massive games coming up against Villarreal. And the league now, I mean, every time, I was saying it before to Joel, I think it was, every single time we look like we're getting close to closing the gap on the top 6 and the top 4 even, we've got a great chance. We always say it, don't we? Win today and we've closed the gap to 10 points or 5 points or 4 points or even 2 points today on Tottenham. And we never win the games ever. We haven't done it all season. We've never managed to
Well, this weekend in particular, we've known all weekend since obviously about 10:30 or 10 o'clock on Friday night, if we won today, we'd be would have been a point behind them. And we'll be playing on Friday. If we get a point out of that or win, we go above them. If we got this Friday coming,
2 home games as well.
But as like Joel said, this has been the grade that mentality has been a downfall for the last 10+ years, whereas we used to see that our Arsenal teams take the initiative and go, okay, you've dropped points, so we're going to make you sort of wish you hadn't, basically, and take the advantage.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, we're not doing that anymore. I mean, I actually cannot remember the last time a team in and around us dropped points and we gained advantage on them.
Yeah, every single time they drop points, we drop points. Even when they pick up points, we drop points, and that's why we're where we are in the league. We're 10th now, aren't we? Again, I think.
I think we are 9th still.
Still 9th.
I'll double check one sec.
I think Villa have got a couple of games in hand now, haven't they?
Yeah, because they're obviously the FA Cup this weekend. I think they've got the weekend off because
they've got games in hand. And obviously, we play Friday, so that'll be another game in hand that they'll have if we don't win, which I'm not 100% confident we will. But I mean, it's no.
And also I've just had a thing come through my phone that Arsenal are amongst the 6 clubs in the Premier League that are pushing forward for a European Super League. Us, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool have been before named out of 6. What a coincidence!
We were one of the clubs to be pushing through the Premier League, wasn't we, at the beginning of that as well? So, I think we've got big ideas, and we still look on ourselves as being one of these big clubs, and we are a big club, but unfortunately on the pitch, we're not a big team, are we? We're not. We've dropped behind. We've been dropping behind clubs over the last few years, and it's reaching a point now where even clubs that we have traditionally always been above, like West Ham, for example, Everton, clubs like that. Suddenly even they're overtaking us, and it's a worrying thing. And if we do win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, it's going to cover up a lot of the issues going on because everyone's going to be happy. Arteta would have technically done the job he was asked to do, which was get us in the Champions League. So you've got to keep him on, of course.
Yeah,
if he achieves that, we'll have a little bit more money to spend in the transfer market. But ultimately, are things going to change massively if we win the Europa League or not? I'm not sure that they will, particularly. Yes, it's going to give us more of a budget. Perhaps we don't know if it will.
Champions League budget, yeah.
Yeah, but the amount of money we've lost anyway, and we can't compete in the Champions League. Let's be honest. No. We might struggle through a group, but we're not going to. When the Champions League was on this week, we saw what the quality of the teams at the top end of that competition is like. We've got no chance of competing with them, not next season anyway. And it would need to be in the Champions League regularly for the next 4 or 5 years.
I'm about to say that, yeah. We'd have to.
Would we, if we do get in there this year through the Europa League, are we going to finish in the top 4 next season to qualify for the Europa League again?
That's the other question, exactly.
Yeah. So are we going to? Is being in the Champions League next year the best thing for this club at this moment in time with everything else that's got going on? We need the money, but in terms of where we're going to be in a year's time, because I can't see us suddenly being in the top 4 next season. When especially not without 6 or 7, 8 new players in the squad to replace the players that really aren't good enough.
Especially with how our recruitment is. We every summer we make one marquee signing and 2 or 3 other signings that's meant to be squad, and they end up being the first teamers. That's been that's an ongoing pattern for years and years. It's never changed.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly, and that's probably what happened again. And and that's not going to progress us enough when you look at how far we've got behind the top 4 to get back in there. And I can't see next season if there's fans in the stadium. It's not going to be such a strange season next year. You're going to get a lot more consistent results. So all the big teams are going to be in the top 4 next year. And we're probably not going to be able to keep up with them again. We're probably not.
Yeah,
that's the situation that we're going to be in.
Exactly. Like we said the other night over on my channel, we were talking about obviously Friday night. We were talking about this, and we said literally, in terms of fans go back in, the ones that take the advantage are the teams like in the sense of the season, the league itself will be more normal in the sense of teams that are meant to be down in the bottom, like the West Hams, and they'll probably struggle again, this, that, and the other. And the likes of your cities, United's, us, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, the ones that got big, massive 40+ capacity stadiums, etc. Because we'll have most of our fans in, if not all of them, at home form will pick up, and suddenly the likes of what we've seen with Liverpool recently, losing 7 games on the bounce, won't happen. They'll be winning their games. They will win the title race. We'll win a few more of our home. Won't win all of our home games. We'll win a few more of our home games than what we have this season because of fans of that. And this is another thing. If Arteta was to, by some miracle, win this Europa League and get us in Champions League next season via the Europa League, from day one, no matter what sort of how the fixture list is panned out, the pressure's on him straight from the off.
No, exactly.
Because if he doesn't get off to a good start, if we lose even one game out of our first 6 games, for example, our fan base will know what they're going to be like. It's on his neck, ready to snap it.
And maybe rightly so. I mean, I don't like fans getting on people's backs, but you can understand the frustration because we're all feeling it. And yes, everyone said last season winning the FA Cup maybe papered over a few cracks, and it probably did. And winning the Europa League this year is going to paper over even more because we'll be in the Champions League next season, which is great. But if we're just in it one season, it's not really what we need. We might be better off. I don't know how we're going to do it now, but we might have been better off being in the Europa League next season, actually, and getting the money from that, and maybe be able to build and then be ready for the Champions League maybe the year after, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, last season, if we don't win that FA Cup, we're not in Europe this season. That's what got us in Europe. So it's a very reminiscent again of last season. We're relying on a cup run to get us in Europe.
Exactly. Yeah, and what good ultimately, what good has that done us? Yeah, we still might win the Europa League, which would get us in the Champions League, which is good, I suppose, overall. But as a rebuilding of the club, it's important in a way. But we're not ready for that, I don't think, to be in the Champions League. We can't compete in the Champions League. We can't even compete in the Premier League very well. We're mid-table in the Premier League. There's no way we're ready to compete in the Champions League against. As soon as we get to if we got through to the knockout stage, the first round of that, we'll probably get knocked out. And it'll be like it was all those seasons under Arsene Wenger, where the season's finished in February, and that's it. At least with the Europa League, it keeps the season alive until April, doesn't it? Usually, because we usually have a good run in it.
And that's the thing. Over the last, I think since 13-14 season, we've become a cup team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's it. That's it. Not exactly a great cup team, but we're a cup team. It is because we obviously get to the FA Cup finals, we win that. League Cup semi-finals, quarter-finals, Europa League final a couple of years back, semi-finals the year before that as well. We reached the League Cup final as well, didn't we? League Cup final as well. Yeah. So we have become a cup team, and we're in the semi-final again now. So that's what we are. Yeah. We're a cup team. Yeah. We are. It's very reminiscent of near the end of George Graham's time when we became a cup team near the end of his time. It continued over a bit, and There's a lot of work at these. There's a lot of work he's doing, not just with the person player-wise. It's personnel upstairs as well. I mean, Vinay needs to. I keep saying it. He needs to be moved on. He cannot be in the role he's currently in. Get him out of that role. Put someone that's an Arsenal man, a football man, in that role, like a David O'Leary, and also Mark Overmars as well. This summer is leaving Ajax. Go approach him. He's an Arsenal player. He's next Arsenal player. He's a winner. He's one of our legends.
Yeah.
There's a project in place. He's done well at Ajax, what he's done there. Bring him in to work alongside Per Mertesacker with the academy and Edu with the recruitment side of things.
I agree.
And
I totally agree.
possibly, maybe, just maybe, we might go in the right direction with football men at the helm. We've got because as it stands, Edu and Mikel are learning on the job. That's what it is. Hence, another reason why we're struggling, because they're rookies. They need to.
And Vinay as well, really. He's not. He's a rookie in football, isn't he? So
where David O'Leary, he's a football man, he's an Arsenal man, he's the most appearance-making player in our history, but he loves the club. End of. So you got that there instead of Vinay. Yeah. Then you got Overmars, as I said, also ex-Arsenal, this, that, and the other. But he's got experience at his level as well, so he can sort of help out. He can lean his experience, help give him a 3-year contract, and in that 3 years, he's then guiding and helping, moulding Edu into the next generation of what he's become himself. And after that 3 years, if things have worked out, he can either stay if he wants or he moves on. But at least then we know something's in place in the sense of Edu's there ready to continue what's been put in place, how he's been moulded. We ain't got that worry if Mark Overmars was to leave. But there's a lot of work to be done, as we said, to get us competitive, and that would be the start of it. And obviously, recruitment and getting other Deadwood players out of the club like Bellerin, but that's another matter.
There is a lot of work to do, and we can clearly see that. And it's not just on the pitch. it's not just on the pitch; it's behind the scenes and all the other stuff as well at the club. So, unfortunately, with the last year, with the financial situation, it's more difficult to do all that job, I suppose. And we've got to try to do the best that we can. But things need to change if we're going to progress and we're going to become a club that can challenge again for the big honours, which we haven't been able to do very much at all, have we, for a long time now. So, and the longer it goes on, the harder it is because other teams come along and have overtaken us, as we said. But anyway, who would be your man in the match today, then, Ryan?
Oh, bloody hell! Right,
it was tough, very tough choice because there wasn't very few players stood out, really, did they?
Not really. No, I mean, as I said, Martin, then he didn't have a good game at all. Really, he started off well and then went afterwards.
Yeah.
Partey got like 25 minutes, or 20 minutes actually, plus the injury time, 27 minutes, because he included the injury time. Matty, I'm going to go and give it Matty Vine, because that, in terms of the entire 90 minutes, he was the most consistent performer on the pitch.
He looked solid. Yeah. He did,
and the goal wasn't his. And there's something you could do about the goal either way, because even if he dove the right way, no keeper saving that.
Right at the top corner, you're not getting that. And plus, as well, he did, of course, help create the equaliser, well, didn't he, with his little header that he put on. So
he's got pre-assist.
Pre-assist, exactly. Yeah, so he kind of contributed to that as well. So you can't really go too far wrong with Matt Ryan. I mean, he proved himself to be a really good goalkeeper, and hopefully he gets a few more minutes in the Premier League. Certainly, if we stay in Europe, I think he might do. He might play in a few more of the league games, maybe, but we'll see. He deserves more of a run because he's proved himself to be top goalkeeper. Just before you go in, Ryan, just give your channel a little plug as well, because I know you always do some great stuff over there.
Yeah, obviously you can find me here on YouTube, the Mr. Arsenal podcast. I just did a watch along today, like yourself, like you did as well earlier. I am doing a review player ratings stream later on this evening around, I think now, 7:30, 8 o'clock, maybe a bit later, depending on availability of other people as well. But again, I'll put that out later. I think now I might be doing a watch along actually for the FA Cup semi-final, because obviously there's a few they're allowing fans in, so it's something a bit different. And throughout the week, I'll be doing a preview on Wednesday because the game's on Friday, isn't it? So I have to do a preview on Wednesday for the Everton game, and then obviously all the build up to that, and then obviously watch alongs, and trying to chat with Mike to organise the next quiz, because it's been a few weeks now, and obviously as we know what behind the scenes and all that. So bring that back now. See if you can take that title back.
Yeah, no, I need to. I've been waiting for the opportunity to take it back. So we need to get that organised soon, because I need to try and get me crown back, because you've been holding on to it temporarily
for a few weeks, for a month or so.
Another couple of weeks into it. That's why you haven't organised another one, isn't it? So you can have it a little bit longer.
Damn, you figured it out. But thanks for having me on anyway.
No problem. It's always a pleasure. And so we'll speak again soon, no doubt. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, mate.
Make sure that you check out Ryan's channel, the Mr. Arsenal podcast, for some more great stuff as well. So thanks for coming on, Ryan, and we will speak soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take it easy. So we move seamlessly from one Ryan to the other Ryan. It's Ryan Williams, of course. How you doing, Ryan? I know you didn't seem very happy about that performance today. What did you make of it all? You're on mute. You put yourself on mute.
Oh, can we hear me now?
You can hear. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh. I plugged my headset out. It's been making a little bit of trouble, but just like today's game, funny enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I was not happy because of obviously the offside decision. Oh, that was awful. The forward line just being like it has been all season, not taking the opportunities. And the starting lineup, I'm not gonna lie, forget the forward line, that was fine. Everything behind it, I was not too keen on it, to be honest with you.
No, exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah. Certain players just doesn't make sense. I mean, Holding and Gabriel, look, I've said this on my channel numerous times. I'm sure I've said it on your channel when you've interviewed me. It don't work. They both need experienced centre backs next to them. That's why Marion Holding works, Louise and Gabriel works. You don't put them both. And I know Louise is out probably for the rest of the season. Just put Mari in with Holding. Or if you're going to play Gabriel, just put him next to Mari. We've never seen it. But Arteta's too scared to have two guys with the same dominant foot next to each other. I don't know what that's about. And El Nene, no. From when I saw that midfield, Rich, I said to myself, sorry, I'm not confident. I'll be honest, excuse me. I'm not. But yeah, that's my thought, you know.
I mean, Ceballos and El Neni don't work today. They've never worked because neither of them offer that forward drive enough. That Thomas Partey will maybe give us a forward pass. Even Xhaka, when he's in midfield, he gives us more in an attacking sense, doesn't he, than either of those two. And it's been the case every time they've played together. So I wasn't surprised by how that particular area of the pitch went. And the same with, like you said, with the two centre-backs, I agree. Holding and Gabriel never. I mean, we wasn't really put under any pressure today, so they wasn't stretched at all. And even then, we still managed to make a mistake to concede a penalty, which, yes, wasn't a penalty, was it? Let's be honest. It wasn't a penalty.
I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. He put his foot out. He tried to make the challenge. But Gabriel was a little bit too slow to put out. Lamela just makes a meal of it. You would, though. If you're an attacking player, you would make a meal of it. You feel a little bit of clipped. You're like, oh, you make a meal of that. So I don't know why the ref. I don't even think the ref went to the screen to go and check that out. But he checked off the offside though. They didn't check that. Okay. All right. I don't like this referee at all. This referee's cost us how many points throughout the season?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I thought. I mean, the first offside for the goal in the first half, where Saka was going away from the goal, so I don't see how that's an advantage. He's going, even if he was offside, which was very, very dubious anyway, looking at the lines. But even if he was offside slightly, he's not gained an advantage because he's moving away from the goal. I always thought you was only offside if you move forward towards the goal. You're offside then, aren't you? Because you move towards the goal. Not if you're moving away from the goal, you can't be offside, can you? I don't see how that works.
There was another defender's hand. If you look at the line, if you look at the picture, still photo, another person's hand. And they always say if they could judge it by a toe or a foot, then they might as well do the same for a hand. All right. I know you can't score a goal with your hand, of course, it's not handball, but we've seen those given. Oh, a fingernail or some rubbish.
Like
that.
We have. Yeah.
That goal we got robbed there, man. We got robbed there. Should have been 1-0. Got robbed.
Yeah, no, we did. We did get robbed. We got robbed at least twice in that game by VAR. And even at the end when we scored, they were desperate to disallow it. What are they looking for there? I mean, what possible thing was they looking for? It's like, hey, what are you checking for?
Because throughout the game, they kept saying, "Oh, it'd be lovely if Fulham would stay up and because you heard the twerking for Fulham throughout the whole game, and I was just like, and then obviously we saw the stat earlier where it just showed, Arsenal's all-time record against Fulham. I was like, you know, Arsenal, they've broken the wrong records this season, especially at home. So Fulham, it would just be so Arsenal. Just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what I feel like exactly trying to push. You know? I don't know, innit? That's just how I feel.
No. I mean, what's frustrating more than anything, isn't it, is the fact that we've seen what this team are capable of. We saw on Thursday night. We've seen against Tottenham. We've seen in other games this season. Right, when they're good, they can be really good. And you look at that, and you look at those performances, and you think, you know what, that's a team that should be challenging for the top four. And then on the other side of that, there's been far too many performances like today, where we look as though we're a mid-table team that can't beat anybody. And it's that kind of inconsistency, I suppose, going from really good to really poor. With, you know, yes, we're making changes to the lineup, but even so, that's not really the reason, because the team that's played today have probably produced some good performances, good results. The team that played Thursday have been beaten badly as well. So I don't know. It's a mindset issue maybe, but I mean, our home form for me is the problem now, isn't it? You know, we can't win a game at home. That's 4 in a row now. In fact, we've only won one of our last, I think, 6 at home, 6 or 7 that we played at the Emirates, going back since we beat Newcastle, I think, in January. I mean, that's a poor record, isn't it? We're not even scoring many goals at home. We don't seem to score goals, do we?
The last time I saw us score a lot of goals at home was it Chelsea? I don't want to say that. And that was Boxing Day.
Probably was, yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know, it's crazy because one of my boys said to me one time before the season started, he said, you know what? For some reason, I thought our away form will be good this season, but never talked about our home form, and that's the craziest thing. We can't get a balance. Our away form has been awful for a lot of seasons, but our home form's always been the one to keep us above, the boat. Now it's like, what? It's not making any sense. People just come to the Emirates and like, all right, cool, let's get 3 points today, or let's get a draw. Do you know what I mean? And then they think they can get a draw, then they actually get 2 extra points. I don't know. I don't know with this team. And look, like I said, the lineup for me was not good enough in terms of what was behind the forwards. But the forwards, they should have done a lot better, man. They should have done a lot better. I'm not blaming the VAR decision, but the forwards should have done a lot better. We did get bumped, and because Slavia Prague proved it. Emil Smith-Rowe was offside. And then what happened a few minutes later, we got a goal. And then another goal. And then, do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Where's that gone? But it's inconsistent.
No, exactly.
Arsenal, we've been inconsistent all season. So, yeah, this is it. You see why I get nervous when we talk about the Europa League. This is why. Simple, man. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and this is why. Even if I was just saying it to Ryan before that, even if we win the Europa League this season, we've got a chance. Let's be honest, we're in the semi-final. Who knows? We might win it. And if we do, and we're in the Champions League next year, that's not. I don't see that we're ready to compete in the Champions League with this group of players. We can't compete in the Premier League consistently. You know what I mean? And what benefit is that going to do us? Yes, financially we could do with the money, totally, but if it's only a one-off season, we're not going to finish in the top 4 next season, I don't think. Not unless massive investments put into the team, which it's not going to be. We know it's not going to be. Even if we do win the Europa League, we're going to struggle to get anywhere near the top 4 next year, probably. So we're going to have one season in the Champions League on the back of winning this. We'll probably get knocked out of the first opportunity we play anyone half decent. And where we're going to be then? We'll be battling for a place in the Europa League the season after. We're back where we were. So I can't see that at this moment in time. I'd love to win the Europa League. We need more European trophies, and it would be fantastic. And it would be great to be in the Champions League. But in the overall scheme of things, how much benefit is it going to be to the club in the long term? I'm not sure. I don't know. I suppose it's better to be in it than not be in it, maybe. But are we ready? That's the thing that worries me. With the structure at the club at the moment, with the squad that we've got, with the finances as tight as they are we ready to be in the Champions League again at this moment in time? I'm not sure if we are. I don't know what favours it's going to do us. Really, I don't know.
Do you remember that conversation we had a couple videos ago? And I said to you, well, I think maybe us being out of Europe for one season would probably be the best thing. Do you remember that? You was like, well, we can't afford that. I mean, the club is kind of proving that to me. Like, we don't deserve it. The problem is, I always saw your point when it comes to the financial situation, but looking at what's on the pitch, we don't deserve Champions League football. I'm honest, because I'm not seeing a team that wants it. I'm not even seeing a team that wants the Europa League, for crying out loud. In fact, I see it, but in terms of actually in the league form, trying to get in those European places, I'm not seeing enough. I'm not seeing the body language, the mentality. It's been absolutely poor. And this is why I've said maybe 1 year out of Europe would do us well. The only problem is, because we don't spend money properly, it's going to hinder us even more. And that's the thing. We need to start from the basic, clear out the rest of the crap, because there's still deadwood at that team. And because the thing is, if we'd won the Europa League, that's great. But guess what? There's still papered over the cracks. And there's still a lot, like at least 5 more players that need to get sold on. Use that money and the players that got sold on, combine that and buy some quality players. Like, we know we're not going to get, players for like 60, 70 mil, but there are some good players in the league, and I keep crying and saying this. Buy some Premier League players. The Basuma guy from Brighton, some guy turned his nose up to him the other day about it. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's called Arsenal trouble how many times? How many times we played Brighton and he's caused trouble in our midfield? And you're telling me he's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club? He's smoking rubbish, mate. I'm telling you. Get him in. Get Max Aarons in from Norwich or Titanacti. Get them in. They're good players. and build.
I mean, look at today. Look at our midfield today, right? I'll tell you what, I like that Anguissa plays for Fulham. He'd improve our options. I'm not saying he'd be a regular starter, but he'd improve our options, wouldn't he? You know, and he could come and do a decent job. Mark's actually got put a comment in the chat. Mark Green, how you doing, Mark? Thanks for tuning in. He says Super League is here. It's the end of football being an Arsenal fan. I totally agree. If there's a European Super League, I'm out. I'm out completely. And he says, "Yeah, last season in the Premier League next season." Well, if that's the case, then that'll be my last season watching football because I won't be. I'm not interested in the European Super League. Absolutely, got no interest in that whatsoever. No, not anyway. Going back to your earlier point, Ryan, about obviously whether we deserve to be in the Champions League or not, right? Has any team ever since the start of the Premier League finished maybe 8th or 9th or 10th and qualified for the Champions League? Never. We'll be the lowest team. We'll be the lowest placed team ever to qualify for the Champions League from the Premier League ever. And if we win the Europa League, that is, because every other team that's qualified for winning the Europa League has maybe finished 5th or 6th in the league. They've not finished 9th or 10th, have they? They haven't. We'll be the only
probably
team
a season later. Maybe a season later when they don't. Do you know what I mean? But not actually winning the competition.
No, exactly. And we'll be the lowest. We'll be the lowest placed ever Premier League team to have qualified for the Champions League. Which, in a way, we could celebrate and say brilliant to be in there, but we don't deserve it, and we're not ready for it. That's the point.
No,
if you can't finish in the top half of the Premier League, or you struggle to finish in the top half, you're not ready to play in the Champions League. Absolutely no chance. You know, we'd have to spend. We'd probably have to spend £500 million in the summer on new players to realistically be able to compete in the Champions League next season. We're not going to do it. We know that. We're going to be.
Do you know what?
We're going to struggle. But maybe if Mark's right, and maybe if next season is our last season in the Premier League, it won't matter, will it? Let's just, who cares? Because the European Super League don't interest me one little bit. I've got to be honest. I would not be. I think I was going to watch the Arsenal women. I think that'd be it. That'd be me done.
Maybe I might as well do that. I went to there was the last actual football game I went to was the Arsenal women versus Tottenham at the Toilet Bowl. That was the last time. That was the last game I watched live. The last game I went to was Arsenal women against Chelsea in the Continental Final, Cup Final last season. They lost 2-1 to Chelsea, but that's the last football match I went to. So, but that's obviously a week later the football shut down anyway. So that's the reason for that. But yeah, I mean, it's I mean, if it's a European Super League, I literally, and I don't think I'll be the only one that would not be interested. And I think maybe it's perhaps maybe some of the older fans, maybe the younger generation might love a European Super League, but I certainly wouldn't. I don't want to see Arsenal playing those teams every week. I like playing Fulham and I like playing teams like that. I like playing Sheffield United and Leeds and everybody else, Man United. I want to play them every week because that's what it's always been about. I don't want to play Barcelona twice a season in the league. I don't want to play Bayern Munich or whoever the other teams are in it. I don't want to be playing them. You play them in the European Cup or the Champions League. Yeah, play them every so often, but not as a league every season. Absolutely no way. Imagine just you don't even realistically be able to go to maybe 4 away games a season when you're playing the English teams. Unless you've got the money to fly all over Europe to go to all the other games, that'll probably be midweek. I mean, I don't know. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me either. Honestly, I think it's just a stupid idea. Just another way, quick scheme, money rich type of stupidity here, man.
Yeah.
They're just taking our leagues away from us. That's how I'm looking at it personally. Stupid.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if that's going to be real and that's really happening, then I think that'll be me done. I've got to be honest. I'll say maybe the Arsenal women's the way forward. Then that perhaps is where we'll go because I won't have any interest in going to watch games in the European Super League. No chance at all. Mark says there, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Dulux are the 5 English teams that have signed up. Well, there you go then. I mean, wow.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
Not Man City then. Not Man, because if Man City haven't signed up for that and Man City remain in the Premier League, they'll literally win that every single year for the next 20 years, won't they?
They'll be like Bayern Munich, what they're doing in Germany, mate. Like, how many titles Bayern Munich won? 8 on the spin, about to be 9 now. Yeah, honestly, it's just and then watch Man City go past us for league titles. That's a joke.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? If they stayed in the Premier League and all those other 5 go out, they'll win it every year. Who else is going to be able to compete with them? Who else that we left in the Premier League? No one else has got their money other than Chelsea and Man United financially to compete with them. Liverpool obviously have got the team and the manager to compete with them, but if they go as well, that's it. So Mark says, no, City's name not on the list. Well, clearly City have got their priorities right, as far as I'm concerned. If that's true, I mean, I've never particularly liked Manchester City. I don't like the way they've gone about having the success that they've had. But if they've
they've got enough players.
European Super League, then they've got the right idea, and I fully support them for that, because that's the right thing. And why Arsenal want to be involved in that is beyond me. You know, when we're 10th in the Premier League or 9th in the Premier League, wherever we are, do you know what I mean? Why would we think we can compete in a European Super League? We'd be finishing the bottom 3 every season, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean?
Talk to the owners. That's exactly what it is. Talk to the owners, because they just see it as, well, whatever it is, man, money. Obviously, the league's not giving them as much money as they want. Do you know what I mean? It's, I'll tell you now, we're only going backwards under this KSC. You know, we can cuss the managers, the people above the managers, but the whole club's just ran into the ground.
No, it is, and there's so many changes that need to happen if the club's going to turn its fortunes around. And and if maybe they think, well, okay, let's get the European Super League, let's get the money off the back of that, and maybe then they can make Arsenal compete. But I don't want to compete in that. I don't want to be competitive in the European Super League. I want to be competitive in the English Premier League. I want to be competitive in the FA Cup. I want to be competitive in the Carabao Cup or the League Cup, whatever it's called. You know what I mean? They're the things I want to be competitive in. I don't care about competing in the European Super League.
I want to win the Premier League title. I ain't seen that since I was in primary school. You know? That hurts.
Mark's
a big old man.
No, exactly. No, it's been a long time. I mean, Mark says you get 400 million for finishing bottom with no relegation. Well, there you go. That's the whole. We'll probably will be finishing bottom, won't we? So at least we get 400 million in the bank, I suppose.
We'll be stuck there relegated, or we won't be relegated. What's the point?
Until they come up with a European Super League 2, then which will happen later on, probably, because it'll be like anything. It'll expand, it'll grow, and then sooner or later there'll be 4 divisions of it, and that's just how it'll be. And then after Premier League will come across and everybody else, and it will. But that's not football for me. That's not what domestic football is. Domestic football, and that's where it needs to stay. You need to have your own domestic league, and if you want to have a European Super League on top of that, a bit like I suppose the Champions League's that and the Europa League, maybe that's what they are. Why do you need to change it? Just keep them as they are. You can compete against teams in Europe if you're good enough. You get to qualify, and you're in against them, and that's it. And you still got your domestic league every week. You're playing your Sheffield United every week, and you're playing. I say Leeds and everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Southampton. You're playing against them sort of teams, Leicester, and that's what it's about, isn't it? That's what football is. That's what it's about, and it's absolutely crazy to think that might stop in the next year or two. I just can't even get my head around it. That would be the worst thing ever for me.
100%. I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. Like, we've seen a lot of things change. VAR, now this crap. Absolutely pathetic.
This would be the final straw. I mean, I know, we've just watched Arsenal play a really, really terrible performance against Fulham, one of many this season in the Premier League. But I'd rather be talking and moaning about Arsenal drawing at home to Fulham than not having that game played at all, and because we're in the European Super League. Do you know what I mean? And I'd rather be moaning about a crap performance in the Premier League, to be honest with you. That's how rather than even winning the European Super League. I wouldn't even care if we won it, because it would not interest me. So Mark says, it's going to be Arsenal v Barca in New York. Yeah, it probably will be, or in Dubai or somewhere. Exactly. That's where it'll be. That's what it'll be. And it's just madness. Absolute madness. The people that are running football, like you said, Ryan, you're dead right. It's all about money. It's not about anything else. They don't care about football. They don't care about fans. They don't care about all the things that's important. All they care about is one thing, and that's it. And unfortunately, this is where it's going, and this is where it's leading us. And maybe that's what they want. I think they've realised, actually, maybe with all this last year, that the TV companies, the clubs maybe as well, they don't need fans, do they? They're still getting paid off the TV. The TV is still getting paid off their sponsors. The clubs don't need fans. They don't need the aggravation of selling tickets. They probably think this is a good solution, because nobody cares.
Or even these, the kits, the
kits, exactly, No, you're right. Yeah, it is, and I know I've got 2 of them in the background there, and but that's what we do. You like to have the kits, don't you? People do. You like to, I wear them to play 5-a-side and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And whatever, which is great. I'd rather wear an Arsenal top to play 5-a-side than some top of some club I don't care about. So that's why I get them. But do you know what I mean? But no, you're right, and it's wrong. It's completely wrong now. And I've got I've just got no interest in it. Gary's in the chat there. He says the sport as we know it. Well, is it? I don't even know if it is it anymore anyway. The sport that we know, it doesn't seem to be, does it?
Money.
Yeah, it's taken over, and it's a shame. But anyway, what can we do? It's out of our hands. We just got to hope and pray that the right thing is done finally, and that maybe the clubs sit down and realise how important the domestic football is, and the fans are, and filling your stadium every 2 weeks when you're playing against the Premier League teams is the most important part of football. It's what it's about, isn't it? And they've got to realise that, and they've got to realise that despite this last year, that isn't reality. That's not what football's about. You can see it quite clearly. I mean, today I said it in some of the earlier people I spoke to. I wasn't interested in that game in the second half because it's not the same sport anymore. Having no fans in the VAR, I just don't like watching football now. Just because it's Arsenal is the only thing that kept me watching that. If it had been any other game, I would have switched it off and I'd have gone and sat in the garden or gone for a walk or done something else. But obviously, because it's Arsenal, you're compelled to watch it, aren't you? Unfortunately, we're lumbered with it. We can't turn off and do something else when Arsenal are playing. You just can't do it. I've not been able to do it for 45 years. I'm not going to be able to start doing it now. So, unfortunately, that's the situation. But I had no interest in that game. I wasn't even that bothered when we scored, to be honest. I didn't really care that much. I wasn't particularly bothered. Just, I think Melvyn said before, maybe just because they didn't deserve to be winning, which was true, because they shouldn't have had the penalty. That's the only kind of thing that came out of it. I watched the goal go in and I'm like, wow, we've just drawn at home to Fulham. Do you know what I mean? In the 97th minute. Are we supposed to be that excited about it? I don't know.
I'm just glad we didn't lose, but I was more peed off because I actually took your point. Remember when you said to me about, we can't put all our eggs in the Europa League basket? You said it to me a while ago, and I agreed with you that. And I said at the time, I don't think we'll get it. And the last couple of weeks, I kind of thought, you know what? I think we just got to play it, And then the Liverpool game happened. I'm like, for crying out loud. West Ham, sorry, they're Liverpool. And I'm like, okay, Sheffield United, all right, cool. Well, Spurs and Everton, they're a bit jittery. We got to take our opportunity. Yeah. But what happens when we say we got to take our opportunity? What happens? This happens. We have a draw or we lose. You know what I mean? It's just forget it. Like, emotionally, I'm checked out already.
Yeah,
already,
I have.
I ain't wore this in a while. I haven't worn that top in a very long time. That's been up there for ages now. Do you know what I mean? I can't put it on because this club, the way they're playing this season's just been, I don't know, just emotionally checked out. Honestly, man.
Yeah, no, I think I have. I think today was one of the final things for me. Mark said the Premier League and UEFA have both put a statement out condemning it. Well, let's see what difference that makes. Yeah. Let's see what difference that makes. Cam says, I know what you mean. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Cam. I know I've not seen you for a while actually in the chat. I don't know if you've been watching the channel. And he says we need to put all our eggs in the Europa League basket. Well, we do now because we've got nothing else to play for, have we? So we might as well now. We have maybe been doing that subconsciously for a while anyway, I think, looking at our league performance.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, it is what it is. I mean, just before you go on, who would you give man in a match to today? Difficult choice. There's been a couple of different options that people have given. What would be your choice?
Probably Martinelli. Only basis on he's been the only person I kind of saw with the attacking threat. Thought Saka was a bit off today. ESR. I understand they've only just come back and they've only played one game, so they're going to be a bit flat. Lacazette, unfortunately, just, slowed as well. Same thing with him, then the hamstring. But, yeah, Martinelli, man. For me, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe it wasn't his best game, actually, I didn't feel. But, like, there was so lack of other players. I mean, I thought Saka was probably carried a threat, didn't he, every time he got the ball. I know Martinelli did, but he maybe, I don't know, he didn't quite push himself further on than he maybe could have done today. I was a little bit disappointed he didn't push on. I mean, I thought he had an okay game, but maybe not his best game, perhaps. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Martinelli's a good shout, I guess, as good as anyone, because no one was brilliant, were they? You draw at home in the 97th minute. You've not exactly played well, have you, as a team? I mean, Ryan gave it to Matt Ryan, actually, which is not a bad shout either, because he didn't do anything wrong, did he? Certainly, and he did help set up the goal. So he's probably a good shout as well for it today. But yeah, very difficult
Great header from Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, most goalkeepers go up for corners, and it's just a token gesture because they're not going to do anything because they haven't got a clue when they get there. But he actually, the first corner came and he nearly got on the end of that, didn't he? And then the second one, he did get the flick on and he scored. So, you know, he had a big part to play in that goal. So credit to him for that. I mean, and I say he looked pretty solid. He didn't have a lot to do in goal, did he? To be fair, Fulham had what? Apart from the penalty, maybe one shot did they? Maybe I can't even remember that. Was it one or two shots? That was all they had. So, you know, he didn't have anything to do, did he? But he did everything. He looked commanding and stuff. So he played all right, but disappointing, very disappointing, isn't it? And you know, luckily we got a week off on Friday, haven't we? And then
Friday, Everton
on Friday.
I don't know, no strikers available. Well, probably going to be Eddie and Balogun, the only two. I mean, I don't know why Balogun went on the bench because I heard reports that he was there. He went on the bench. I'm thinking, did he play under 23s the other day? I don't remember seeing his name on the team sheet.
Well, no, because
I missed something.
Well, no, he came on for us, didn't he? Against Slavia Prague, didn't he? He was on the bench. He came on, didn't he? So he was there.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he didn't play today, or he wasn't even on the bench. Crazy. I mean, he's got to at least make the bench on Friday if Lacazette's out, because Aubameyang might be back in the squad. But I can't see Aubameyang playing 90 minutes when he's just got back off malaria. I don't think he's got any chance. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'll be surprised if Balogun doesn't get some minutes at least on Friday. But we'll have to wait and see. You never know with Arteta, do you? What he's going to do. Ryan's put in the chat there. UEFA made a statement about the Super League. They ain't happy. Well, I'm not happy either, and none of us are happy. So hopefully UEFA can have a bit of influence on it and see if they can do something to stop it.
Yeah, cut that out, please.
And Gary says, Stan to be vice chairman of the Super League. He's stuck to Arsenal forever. 60 million to Arsenal. Well, yeah, KSE once the league is done. Exactly, yeah. That would be the nightmare scenario, wouldn't it? Make it even worse if actually Stan was in charge in some way of the league, which wouldn't surprise me if I'm totally honest. But that would be an absolute nightmare, wouldn't it? We certainly don't want to see that happening at all. We don't want to see the league happening at all in the first place, let alone Stan being a big part of it, because that'll be the end of Arsenal as we know it, if it isn't already. But anyway,
more nails in the coffin.
Exactly, yeah, more nails in the coffin. That's exactly it. Okay, then, Ryan. Well, just before you go, give your channel a little plug. Tell people where to find you and what you're doing.
Cheers. Thanks again for having me on, Rich, man. Always a pleasure to come on here and speak with you, man. Well, guys, we'll check my channel out. It's right there, Ryan Williams ASC. This match reaction will come out later on today, so stay tuned for that. Of course, I'm going to give my preview to the Everton game coming up also. And if you want to get at me at Twitter, follow me at RJ Wills, or just search Ryan Williams ASC on Twitter and Instagram. But thanks again, man, Rich. Appreciate you having me.
No, not a problem. Always a pleasure having you on, Ryan. As you know, no doubt we'll speak again soon. And make sure you check out Ryan's channel as well. So Ryan Williams AFC on YouTube, good stuff on there. And give it a like and a subscribe as well, because he fully deserves it for the work you're putting in. Very good stuff that you're doing and all that. So always a pleasure to have you on. And I say we'll speak again soon, and hopefully a better game next time that we can enjoy a little bit more. Hopefully. All right, cheers, Ryan. Speak to you later, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, mate.
See ya.
Yeah.
So that was Ryan there, finishing off our fan cam show today, following the disappointing is perhaps the best word to use, a 1-1 draw with Fulham. Very, very frustrating game, like so many this season in the Premier League, unfortunately. But I suppose while we're still in the Europa League, at least we've got something to look forward to, and at least the season's got something in it. I say, are we ready for the Champions League next season if we qualify? I'm not sure we are, but I suppose it's better to be in it than not, maybe. I don't know, certainly financially. But with all this talk of the European Super League, who knows how important the Champions League is going to be anyway, with all that going on. Worrying times, maybe, actually, for maybe some of us more old school football fans who, don't want to see anything other than a domestic league, and the European competition is totally separate to that. But anyway, it's still early days for that, and there's a lot of opposition to it by the look of it. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's a conversation for another day. Today, obviously, it's about another disappointing Premier League performance, another maybe negative team selection for Mikel Arteta. Maybe given the circumstances, you can understand it. But as I said earlier, It's not just a one-off, is it? We've done similar things. He picked similar teams earlier on in the season when, you know, the Europa League was shut down. So, you know, that's not the reason, is it? We know that performance isn't good enough. The Premier League campaign's not been good enough, and it is all eggs in the Europa League basket now to give our season some semblance of worth, really, because, you know, if we don't win it, and we don't get to the final, then it'd be one of the poorest seasons that there's been in a long time in the history of this club. And yeah, it's worrying times, actually. And having watched that game today with all the nonsense with VAR, and football's not the same. It's not the same anymore. The enjoyment's not the same, and I don't even know if having fans back in the stadium is going to make a massive difference. We'll see. Hopefully it will. And maybe when I'm back in the ground and you can jump about when we score, not that you can, because VAR soon puts a stop to all that, but I'm sure maybe things might change. But at this moment in time, I'm feeling quite disillusioned with football. And, you know, the Europa League is maybe keeping some sort of interest going, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks with that. Coming up on the channel, if you haven't done so, please subscribe. It is called the Positive Arsenal channel, and I do try to be positive. And by positive doesn't mean that I can't be realistic as well. And not always necessarily everything's not rosy in the garden, is it? So I'm not going to be positive when there's no reason to be. I just don't want to. I don't want to constantly push negativity on the channel, because I think there's enough of that already. But sometimes it's easy to feel a little bit down about the way things are going, and the future of football actually is quite a worry at the moment in general, not just Arsenal related at all. So worrying times at this moment, and we'll see. Hopefully it won't go through, it won't go ahead, and we can keep football as we've always known it, just a few little tweaks here and there, and things will be maybe back on track again. But yeah, I mean, it is generally positive. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I've got some good stuff coming up on the channel this week. Tomorrow I'll be doing a full review video of this game against Fulham. I'll pick my man in the match and all the usual stuff as well. So that'll be coming out tomorrow, probably lunchtime. And then we're building up towards the game on Friday, of course, against Everton. I said to Melvyn before, I'll probably do the live show Thursday. There's a few Everton fans I think can come on, and we can have a good show on Thursday previewing that game. I'll have my own little preview video out of that as well, probably Wednesday. So those coming up on the channel. So if you haven't done so, please click the subscribe button, which, as you can see, is just there in the corner of the screen. So give that a click as well. It just helps the channel reach a larger audience. I've had quite a few new subscribers in the last few weeks, so thank you very much for doing that. Hope you're enjoying the content that I'm doing. I hope you're enjoying the live shows as well. If there's anything that you maybe want me to do a show about, anything you want me to do a video about, just drop the comments in the box. Let me know the sort of things that you'd like to see on the channel, and I'll see if I can what I can do to get that happening. At the end of the day, I like doing these videos, but I want to make sure it's stuff that you guys want to watch and that you've got an interest in. So if there's anything in particular you'd like me to do on the show, please drop it in the box, and I'll do my best to do a show on that. As long as it's Arsenal related, then it'll be game on. I don't particularly want to do a show about anything else particularly, but if you want me to, let me know, and I may do. So please subscribe. Please give this video a like as well. Thanks to all my guests for coming on. Of course, the two Ryans, Joel, of course, as well. Fantastic to have him back on the channel. Melvyn, as usual, of course, and also Gary at DWTT. So please check out all their channels. That's DWTT's channel on YouTube. You've got Ryan Williams AFC, the Mr. Arsenal podcast. You've got JG's Fight Talk as well, the boxing channel with Joel. Really good stuff that is as well. And I say maybe we'll all be watching boxing in the next couple of years instead of football, won't we, if this European Super League goes ahead. So I'm sure Joel's channel will grow really quickly if that happens, but we'll see. But definitely check him out anyway, because there's some good stuff on there. So I say thanks to all the guests. Thanks to Melvyn as well. He hasn't got a channel, but he's always on here and on a few other channels, as he said. So yeah, please, and thanks as well to all you guys in the chat as well. There's been quite a lot of comments in. Mark Green, of course, Cam, good to see Cam back in the chat. Not been in for a while, so good to see you guys in. Ender, of course, earlier as well, and Steve as well. Steve Salkus, a new viewer in there, and the dark side. I've always liked to be on the dark side as well. Guna Steelman as well was earlier. Shane as well, and my good mate Rob as well. Been going to football with him for a long time, so good that he's popped in the chat today as well. So thanks to all you guys for watching. Thanks for the support of the channel. So look out for my review video coming out tomorrow, probably I say around about lunchtime. I'll have that out released. Stay tuned for that, and in the meantime, of course, thanks for your support. Thanks for watching, And of course, as always, come on, you Gunners, let's just play better. That's all we want. Just play better regularly every week. Play better.